Hello, and thank you for tuning in to our GIS Ambassador webinar. My name's Haley, and I'm joined also by Angela Alexander. I've only spoken with a couple of you, but Angela's been the one who's been running the program and spoken with almost all of you. Here are both of our email addresses, just in case you ever need to get a hold of either of us. And we're excited to share some really great resources and information with you today. Here's our brief agenda. I'm going to give you a quick update about the GIS Ambassador program with some statistics. Encourage you to spread the word to your coworkers, go over all of the different resources you have available to you while you're out visiting classrooms, how to get teachers access into ArcGIS Online. Depending on where you are in Canada, the process changes a little bit, so I'll go over province by province how that works, some ideas for activities you can do when you're visiting classrooms, and I'll wrap up with some information about welcome packages for each of you. Really briefly before we begin, Angela and I want to thank all of you for all of your hard work. Whether you've been going out to visit schools, have been judging at competitions, or whatever outreach you've been doing, you're all awesome. So thank you so much for being a GIS ambassador. We really appreciate it. And we're here to help you anytime. I know some of you are still waiting to be connected with an educator in your area. Sometimes educators are hard to get a hold of, especially as the school year is winding down, but we're always working really hard to make those connections and get you out into classrooms, so thank you for your patience. The Ambassador program has grown since it began in September, so as of April 27th, we have 125 ambassadors signed up. We're very excited about it. This includes lots of different people involved in GIS. We have Esri Canada staff, clients, teachers, university and college students, professors, and GIS professionals. So the map down here is showing where all of our ambassadors are located in Canada. We, on the education team, measure how many active schools we have in GIS. So that means that we know that at least one teacher at the school is using GIS. So we had 767 active schools in December of last year, and we've gone up to 931 as of the end of April. We're very excited, and part of this is due to you guys going out to visit schools. So again, thank you so much for your outreach and your efforts. This pie chart is just showing the breakdown of where all the ambassadors are in Canada. We have a lot in Ontario, but we're hoping as the program grows, we'll get a lot more in every province. Quick notes on future work. We're working on building an app which will allow you to go in and search for your name, and it will build you a list of schools that you can visit as an ambassador. It's not quite done, and we'll give you guys an update when the app has been completed, but what it does is it builds a 2-kilometer, 5-kilometer, and 10-kilometer buffer around your location, and we'll let you know what schools fall within those areas. So before I was mentioning we measure active schools, so you can see all these different colored dots in this screenshot. A green school is a school that we know someone there is actively using GIS. Orange means the school has access to GIS software but isn't using it, or we're not sure if they're using it. And red means they have no access and they're not using it. So we're working really hard to convert these orange and red schools into green schools. We also have created a Slack group that all of you will have received an invitation to, and this is a community to ask questions, share ideas, post resources, so we're really hoping that people are going to be active in this Slack group, and we're going to see how it goes. We're really encouraging you guys to tell your friends about the GIS Ambassador program, so we're always looking for new ambassadors to sign up. The website is esri.ca/ambassador, which all of you have probably visited. And we have a JPEG you can put in your email signature that we encourage you to use. So when you email, when you're emailing people at your job, they can see that you're an ambassador and maybe they'll be more curious about the program. So I'll show you where you can get that JPEG afterwards. And then here I just have a picture. So we love writing profiles about what our ambassadors have been doing. Currently we have 2 profiles. We have one about Zoe Goodyear, who is in St. John's, Newfoundland. And we have a second one about Larissa Johnstone, who is in Windsor, Ontario. So always try and keep us up to date on what you're doing. Take pictures when you're at events, and we'd love to create some more profiles that we can spread out. And then this is something else you can use to tell your friends about the program. We're striving to create lots of resources that ambassadors can use when they're out visiting schools, and almost all of these are housed in the Ambassador ArcGIS Online subscription. I've mentioned this a couple times in the few emails I've sent out, but here's the hyperlink right here, esri.ca/embassy. We called it that because you guys are ambassadors and you're part of an embassy. So I'm going to pop in there now and show you how it works and what resources are in there. And again, please let me know anytime if you'd like an account into this ArcGIS Online subscription. Alternatively, if you already have an ArcGIS Online account, I can add you into a group so you can access some of the not public facing resources. So either way, just let me know. So when you go to that esri.ca/embassy, this is the home page of the ArcGIS Online Ambassador subscription that you guys all have access to. So you can access this link whether or not you're signed into ArcGIS Online, and you'll still be able to see these resources in this welcome message, so you don't have to worry about being signed in all the time. I'm just going to quickly go through what these thumbnails are and what resources are inside of them. So whenever you click on a thumbnail, it's going to open up in a new tab a group for you to look at what resources we have. So the very first one is collateral. It's called Ambassador Collateral. So these are things you can use to help promote the program or promote GIS to educators. So these two down here are those blog articles about Larissa and Zoe that I mentioned. So if you have anyone who's curious about reading what an ambassador does, those are good resources. We also have a link to the Esri Canada K-12 blog. Angela Alexander writes really great blog articles highlighting new story maps or apps, highlighting ambassador activity, and talking about some cool stuff that educators have been doing. So I encourage all of you to subscribe to her blog. And finally, we have this ArcGIS Online for Educators PDF. This is a really great 2-page PDF. If you encounter an educator that has no idea what GIS is or ArcGIS Online, you can absolutely print this PDF and bring it to a classroom with you just to tell a teacher what ArcGIS Online is about. It gives them just really general information about ArcGIS Online and some quotes from 2 teachers who use ArcGIS Online a lot. So if you encounter someone who's never heard of GIS, that's a really great place to start. This next one is an ambassador overview and map. Of course, we need a couple maps. So this has 4 different tabs up here. So the very first one shows you a list of all the ambassadors and where they are in Canada. Whenever you click on a graduation cap, it'll tell you the name of the ambassador and what their job title is, just so you can kind of see what other ambassadors are in your community. The second tab is the GIS Ambassador form that we ask people to fill out when they're interested in the program. Just in case you need a link to the form, that's where you can find it. So previously I mentioned how do educators get access to ArcGIS Online. So this is a map showing the 4 provinces currently that have what we call a provincial license. So in the Yukon, Manitoba, Ontario, and Newfoundland and Labrador, the Ministry of Education in these provinces has purchased software for every publicly funded school in that province or territory. So if you are in one of these provinces, chances are the school has access to ArcGIS Online already, and they may not even know. I'll go over how educators in other provinces can get access, but in these 4, they have a provincial subscription. Also, when you're in this map, if you click on one of the provinces that is licensed, it will take you to their homepage. So I've built these homepages to mimic the ambassador homepage, but this is where we drive educators if they're in that province to get all sorts of resources. So this will be another great place for you to explore with educators if you're in one of those 4 provinces. There's tutorials and activities in here. So again, that's just in this map, and if you click on one of the provinces or territories, it will bring you to their homepage. The 4th and final tab is where I'm going to get into what resources you have access to. So we try and build lots of maps and apps and tutorials so that when you go to a classroom, you have things that you can use with students. The very first one is what we call a 6x6. So when you click on this, it will actually bring you to our lesson planner. So every time we create something in the education group, whether it be a presentation, a lesson plan, a map, or an app, we put it in the lesson planner. So I've just turned on a filter so that it's only showing what we call this 6x6. So we've created this really great 2-page document, one for every province and territory, that will give you 6 activities you can do in 6 minutes or less. So if you're in a classroom where they've never used GIS before, or they're just learning how to get started, this will be a really great tutorial you can download and pass out to educators and students, and they can work through it and learn how ArcGIS Online works. The reason there's a different one for every province and territory is that they have local examples. So Newfoundland will highlight some really cool Atlantic Canada maps, whereas Nunavut has a really cool map in there about communities in Nunavut. So we encourage you to download the 6x6 activity for whatever province you're in, and then use that when you're teaching people how to use ArcGIS Online. Now, every time that we build a resource, it's always connected to the curriculum somehow. So when you're going out to a classroom, send the teacher an email before you go and ask them what they've been teaching in their class. For example, if you're going to a grade 10 history class, they may be learning about ancient civilizations. Then you can kind of pop in here and say, oh wow, there's an ancient civilizations web activity I could use. We always try and build in questions or have some sort of overarching questions. So in this ancient civilizations one, we have 4 questions, and as the students move through the different points on the story map, they'll learn the answers to the questions. So in this resource gallery, you're likely not going to use all of the different maps that we have in here, but always just check with the teacher what they've been working on, and you'll likely be able to use at least 1 or 2 of them. I'm just going to point out a couple other activities. This GIS Day presentation is really great if you're doing an introduction to GIS and want to show the kids some neat maps you can make with Esri software. I know this is Happy GIS Day, and technically GIS Day is in November, but we like to say that any day can be GIS Day. As you work through this story map, it's got different examples here on the left of maps you can use for many different industries and many different topics, and it kind of goes over what is GIS and how you can use it. So this GIS Day map is a wonderful resource that any of you can pop open and use when you're in a classroom. We also have this demo app gallery. So when you click on this, we at Esri Canada have built this gallery, so whenever one of our clients makes a neat map, we try to post it in here. So you're welcome to search through this and look for any good examples of maps that you think you could use. So these are ones that we've built at Esri Canada, and if you go into user apps, these are ones that our clients have built. So you have access to open up any of these. They're public facing, and feel free, if you find a neat one that you want to use, go right ahead. The last resource I want to point out is this Introduction to ArcGIS Online tutorial. This is a little bit longer than the 6x6, so it's 7 pages long, but it's a lot more detailed step by step. It's got screenshots and pictures in it, so if someone's really wants to sit down and read some more text about how to learn ArcGIS Online, or they'd like some more detailed instructions, this Introduction to ArcGIS Online will be a good starting place. So again, Introduction to ArcGIS Online, our demo apps, this GIS Day presentation, and 6x6. These are a gallery of resources we're constantly going to be updating, adding new resources to, so this is a good place to look. So this is in this 4-tab map that's in here, or it's just in a standalone item in your homepage on the Ambassador Resource Gallery, so this brings you to the exact same place. So I encourage you to check this out and see what resources are in this gallery. Also, we have a resource list, which really is just going through the maps that are in the resource gallery and giving you a little detailed description about what they are and another link to it just in case. We also have in the resource gallery a geography treasure hunt, which is really fun. So it's 10 questions and the students get hints and they have to zoom into the right part of the world where they think the answer is. I've put the answers here for you because I know I had a little bit of trouble solving the geography hunt, the treasure hunt. So if you decide to use that with students, you have got the answers in this PDF document. On the homepage, when you click on these arrows, it will bring you to 2 other items. You'll only see this ambassador signature if you're logged into the ArcGIS Online account. And again, if you don't want to have an account here and you already have an existing one, I'll just add you into this group. But what it is when you open it up, it's just a JPEG that you can save, and you can add this to your email signature. Finally, the last tab we have is webinars. So when you click on this, the slides for this presentation you're listening to right now are in here, and shortly this video will be available here as well. As we do more and more webinars as time goes on, they'll also be located in this group. So that's the homepage. So lots of really great resources in there. And again, we're going to constantly update it as we create new resources and time goes on. I briefly touched on this with that map of the 4 provinces that have provincial subscriptions or licenses, but just to go over it one more time. So Ontario, Manitoba, the Yukon, and Newfoundland all have given access to every publicly funded school in those 4 provinces. And British Columbia has a similar license that is just wrapping up, so we're hoping it's going to be available soon. And again, they each have a homepage that you can take educators to, and that's where all sorts of tutorials are located. If you live in any of the other provinces or territories in Canada, We here at Esri are donating an ArcGIS Online subscription to any school or any school board in the entire country for classroom use. We set up the subscription for the teacher, we provide training, and we provide technical support if they have any questions. So regardless of whether or not your educator is accessing a provincial subscription or would like a donation, this esri.ca/AGOL access is where you're going to tell teachers to go to. So once they go to this website, there'll be a form that they fill out, and then we will be in touch with them and let them know if they either have access to a provincial account or if we will donate one to them for free. So this means that every single school in Canada has access to ArcGIS Online, whether or not it's from a donation or a provincial subscription, just depends on where you live, but we're very excited to be able to offer ArcGIS Online to any school in the whole country. Now, when you're visiting a classroom, again, I encourage you to look through the resource gallery first and just see if there's anything in there you can use. We also have a Twitter account at GIS Ambassador that it would be wonderful if all of you followed and took pictures while you're out doing ambassador work. This picture on the right is just me on a GIS Day event showing a map to some students. So if you guys could take pictures and tweet about your experiences, that would be wonderful. GIS Day is November 16th this year. We'll be in touch with all of you earlier in the fall. We'd like to get out as many of you as possible out visiting a classroom. So again, we'll be in touch as GIS Day gets closer. I'm going to pop into ArcGIS Online quickly and just go over a couple ideas of what you can do also when you're visiting a classroom. So when you're in ArcGIS Online and you click on Map, this opens up a blank brand new map that you can start manipulating. Base maps are really fun to explore just even without data. So when you click base map, there's 10 different base maps that you have access to. This one that turns on by default, the topographic base map, actually is built at Esri Canada. As you zoom in, it gets more and more detailed. So if I zoom all the way into Halifax, you're going to start seeing roads appear and different buildings. What I really like doing is getting the kids to zoom in to either their house or their school and then switching the base map into imagery. And you can talk about whether or not the image is up to date, what is missing, what they notice about the imagery base map. So that's always a really fun exercise. Again, I also like using the measure tool. So you can get them to measure the distance from their house to their school. Then you can compare who has the longest commute, that kind of thing. And also adding map notes are our best activity. So map notes can be used for younger kids, older kids, educators, anybody. So when you do add map notes, you're going to get this edit button that appears, and you'll be able to add a point, a line, or a polygon anywhere on the map. And the cool thing about it is that you can add a title, a description, and a picture. So this is a great exercise for younger kids. You could get them to add a point for their house and a point for their school, and again, measure the distance between the two of them. For older kids, you could get them to add the top 5 places they want to visit in the world, or get them to pick their favorite band and map out the 10 cities they should stop in Canada. And then you can talk about, why did you choose those cities? Are there more people that live there? That kind of thing. So map notes are really great. We also have a lot of existing data you can add onto your map. I'm just going to switch this base map back to topographic. But when you click add and search for layers, there's 3 keywords that we always search for that have really great data. So first of all, you're always going to switch this in my organization into ArcGIS Online. So this will allow you to search for any data that exists in ArcGIS Online. So the first keyword that's really powerful is Arc Canada. So everything that we publish in the education and research group here at Esri Canada is tagged as Arc Canada. So one word, ARC Canada, and this will give you access to all of the different data sets we have. There's federal elections, there's population, there's wealth distribution, there's lots and lots of great data. When you find something that you're interested in exploring, just click add and it'll pop onto the map for you. So using a combination of adding data sets and map notes is a really powerful exercise that will get kids exposed to GIS. Arc Canada is the first one. The second one I want to show you is World Bank. Arc Canada data is in a Canadian context, whereas World Bank has global data. So if you're looking at maybe a grade 12 travel and tourism class, for example, and you want some global data, World Bank is another great keyword. So they again have age and population. They have annual cheese production. So there's lots of different data you can explore with this keyword. And the final one is live feed. Live feed is really interesting because it has data in real time. For example, if you have hurricanes active and add that onto the map, if there's any active hurricanes, they will appear on the map and you'll be able to get more information about them. Doesn't look like there are currently any hurricanes right now, but if there were, it would appear on the map. So again, ARC Canada, World Bank, and live feed are the 3 keywords that we would encourage you to explore with your kids when you're in a classroom. And just remember to ask the teacher what they're learning about. Seems pretty simple, but that'll give you a really good clue about what kind of maps or activities you can prepare when you're visiting a classroom. And don't be afraid to ask us if you can't find anything. If a teacher tells you they're studying World War I and you're struggling finding any data or story maps or maps to bring with you, send us an email and we would be happy to direct you to some resources you can use within your class. Finally, I just want to remind everyone about the K-12 blog. I showed it earlier, the blog that Angela writes. So that has lots of really great resources too that we highlight every week or so. So another good place for you to find some cool information. Welcome packages are on their way to you soon. We're really excited about it. So what it will include is a backpack, some GIS Ambassador buttons you can wear when you're out doing classroom visits, and it's also going to have some printed activities for you. This is a picture of 3 GIS ambassadors that came with me when I was in Calgary in February. They wore their buttons. People were asking about the program, so it'll give some more visibility about what you're doing. A couple of people have asked some really good questions. So someone asked how you explain what a tag is in ArcGIS Online. So whenever you create something new in ArcGIS Online, you're required to save what we call tags. So the way I explain that to people is that it's a keyword. For example, if you make a map with tectonic plates and earthquakes and you're looking at the relationship between the two, the tag I would use could just be earthquake. You can also get kids to use their teacher's name or what subject they're in when they're looking at keywords. Those are really great ideas. Again, thank you so much for your participation in the Ambassador Program. This is a picture of the K-12 group here at Esri Canada. That's me, Haley, on the left. Then we have Jean Tong, Ashley Harris, and Angela Alexander. And we'll continue to be in touch with all of you through Twitter, the Slack group, and our email that you can reach any of us that we all see is k12@esri.ca. So if you have any questions about curriculum, resources, the program, please feel free to email k12@esri.ca and we'll be happy to talk to you. Thanks again for tuning in and enjoy the rest of your week.